what's up? I know you're doing well. New day, new adventure. Today, I'm Ishita Sharma and I'm here to discover the new career opportunities in the field of print media. And for this, we have Madam Preeti Surya with us. She is the head of department in journalism and mass communication in Jagannath Institute of Management Science. We have Preeti ma'am with us. Hello Preeti ma'am.
Hi.
So ma'am, how are you doing today?
Wonderful.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, as we know, today's youth is facing so many problems in choosing career opportunities, and they are so muddled and have so many queries about it. So, and they don't know how to get exposed in this industry. So, ma'am, I'm going to ask you a few questions about it.
Sure.
So, are you ready to answer?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, ma'am. So, my first question to you is there any other career opportunity other than content writing or writing blogs or other than research?
Right. See, media and entertainment industry has as many as I think hundreds of, and it's a dynamic, it's a living entity. You are finding new opportunities emerging in the sector every day. Pre-pandemic, you could not think of OTT platforms, and now the avenues are opening up, right? And right now, at least in the emerging trends, social media is going to get really, really big, and you're going to look at, more evolved aspects and dimensions of social media platforms. So that's if I peep into the future, and if I really look at, from let's say 10 years back, you see that media is shifting every moment, and every moment there are new career opportunities which are emerging in the sector. Only thing is you have to be present to them. That's all.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, as you talked about the social media, like pre-pandemic, social media was not at so much great importance. So, what do you think? Like, will print media will survive in the upcoming years when social media is in boom?
Yeah. My first response to that question would be that print media is not only newspapers, not only magazines. An exhibition panel is also print media.
Okay, that's
The annual report that you see every year, every corporate comes up with, that also is print media.
Okay.
Right? So I would suggest that you don't take a very restrictive view on what print media is. But I would also want to add here that print media has also evolved in the face of new media emerging. Let's look at early 2000s. You were looking at platform which were restricted to very long stories. Now the story format has changed. You see an input of infographics in the print platforms. So all of that is in the face of new media emerging. All of that is in the face of 24/7 television emerging. So as media evolves, print as I have seen it in the past, print will evolve as well, and you will see a different kind of print platform. Print will definitely survive, and at least in this part of the world, primarily because it enjoys a lot of credibility, and I see the next growth in print platforms coming from the regional verticals. So you will have, let's say, Divya Bhaskar, which is a Gujarati paper in Dainik Bhaskar. You may find the rise of regional media in a great way, both in the print as well as in the digital interfaces.
I never thought of this, the answer you told me just right now. I guess it will be very helpful for the audience right now. So, ma'am, my next question to you is, what can we do to ace or pitch ourselves in this industry?
Yeah. First is you'll have to be scaling up in the sense that first is you benchmark yourself against the current industry standards. And when I'm saying industry standards, I'm talking about the professional skill set that is in demand. I invariably invite all of my students to aim for the highest paid skills in the industry at this point of time. Only when you are able to achieve that will you be able to prove yourself to be worthy of the investment of the industry players 3 years down the line. Right? So scale up and skill up both. And look at multi-dimensional growth. Do not restrict yourself to writing, do not restrict yourself to radio, do not restrict yourself to new media, the media is, right now we are way past convergence. We are living in an era where probably multimedia journalism is something which is in vogue. But I really cannot tell you 5 years down the line how that multimedia journalism is going to pan out. What is the role of artificial intelligence? So, first be tech savvy, second be aware about the industry norms, industry standards at this point of time, and keep an eye on the future. I invariably tell my students that if you are really looking at creating waves and creating ripples with your work and do some real path-breaking work in the industry, you first must know where you stand and
course.
then go on challenging yourself, keep on breaking your comfort zone, and excelling. It's a continual process.
Okay, ma'am. And Preeti ma'am told us a very good quote in this answer: scale up and scale up both at the same time. Thank you, ma'am, for this motivation. So, ma'am, like everyone in this, like today is like all about how much salary they are getting it. Many people think that they will get starting salary will be 20,000 and it will not go more than 50,000. So, can you clear this perception of them?
It's a myth that journalism or media industry doesn't pay. I can tell you there are anchors who are drawing more than you can ever think of. And the reason for that is they prove themselves to be indispensable to the job roles that they perform, right? I don't think there is a glass ceiling in terms of remuneration or in terms of the status. Sky's the limit, provided you prove yourself to be worthy of it.
That's true.
Yeah, so those days where people would relate journalism or any media work with not so well paid jobs, those days are over. I mean, I think they were over even prior to my getting into the industry. So sky is the limit, but only thing is you'll have to keep on inventing and innovating both. Okay, that's very important.
Sure, ma'am. So, many people think that newspapers are the only medium in mid 90s or you can say early 20s that used to affect the audience the most, or we can say the nation the most. So, what do you think? Which mass medium affects the audience the most?
Well, I think it's not about the medium. Let me tell you, as a media producer, probably you are fixated on whether the consumer is watching television or is reading newspaper. But by and large, I would want you to understand the person who's watching news is watching news across mediums.
Okay.
They are looking at cricket scores on their cricket info or some such app. They are watching the matches on the television. They are reading the newspapers, and they are also reading the blogs of people who are who are niche, who have the niche or who have the competence of writing blogs in cricket. So it's not the medium that is of much significance, frankly speaking. And I would want you to look at media consumer as someone who is chasing whatever he chooses to, whether he's interested in sports, or he's interested in news, or he's interested in, let's say, marketing or advertisement. He's chasing it across platforms, right? As media producers, we tend to find out what medium is doing well and which one is not. I would want you to understand that, let's say, before and different mediums serve different purposes. See, if I'm looking for a really quick answer to my question, digital media is the best. If I'm looking at an analytical aspect, probably newspapers are still doing quite good. And if I'm looking at an individual's perspective, let's say if I'm looking at Warren Buffett telling me something about the economy in the world, then of course I have that niche opinion in the form of his blog on the digital spaces. So it's not about which medium. The media consumer is consuming every medium. He's just chasing what he wants to chase, right? So it's way too early for us to write off print. I would rather want you to see that print is likely to get more niche. It is going to be getting more in-depth, more analytical, and more intensive. When we are writing off print platforms, are we saying that we are not going to have Harvard Business Review? That is not a possibility.
Yes, ma'am.
You may have Harvard Business Review in the print, plus you may also have it in the digital format. So, and moreover, the research also says that the growth in one medium, one platform leads to the growth in another.
Yes.
So that's the trend.
So as you said that newspapers are doing really well right now. So what do you think? Like upcoming generation is not into that. Is not that into newspapers like today's generation.
Okay. Today's generation reads Daily Times.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So is that not a newspaper?
No, it's a newspaper. Like I can give my example of myself. Like I don't need newspapers so often.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the college students are doing it. So what do you think? Will it survive?
Are you present to school edition of Times of India? Times of India has come up with this very bright idea of engaging, school students as writers, and they have school editions. I see in print, if I one of the trend, if I were to predict, it would be that print media is going to get more hyper local. You may have Karol Bagh Times, you may have West Delhi plus East Delhi. We've already seen that happen in Times of India, right? That's what I'm saying. The print platforms are likely to go more niche and more focused on a certain target group. Okay, there are newspapers which are produced. Hindu does one with students in mind. Okay, it has quizzes and it has maths equations and stuff like that. Right, so you will see the content being targeted at specific target audience in the print platforms going forward.
I never thought of that actually. So I'll not take so much time of yours. So ma'am, please share your experience where you felt that you can't do it anymore, where you felt that you can't go further in this industry.
I can go for another 100 years. I love what I do, and I loved every moment of the 30 years that I've spent in the industry. Whether as someone who was discovering it, whether as someone who was creating the content and generating newspapers and producing TV programs and radio work output. I was basically, I can tell you, and today as a scholar of the media, I can tell you there is no other profession that I know of which is as thrilling, as adventurous, as fulfilling as a media and entertainment sector. So yeah, there has never been a moment where I can say that this is it, I have had enough of mass media, I want to do something else. Never. There was a moment where I thought, what is next? And that was when I got an imprint line. I was 36 at that point of time, and there was a newspaper I was heading, Siri Bhaskar, and I got the name. My name was imprinted as an editor, and that was a moment for me to think, this is the end of it. I have seen my editors get it at the age of 60. I got it at the age of 36. So wow, ab kya? This is it. I'm done with it. I'm done. I've climbed as far as I could have climbed. But that's not how it is. And eventually I discovered there are different markets. So when I was heading the editorial position, I was heading it for one market. So there was Rajasthan market, and there was Madhya Pradesh market, and there was Delhi market. So yeah, there were different markets. So I kept on the journey, kept the journey going, and it's a beautiful. I would say the connect that I have with mass communication and media is probably a soul connect.
So
I'll be doing it till the last breath of my life.
So your journey was quite exciting.
Super exciting, super exciting. No 2 days in the life of a journalist are same. And and that's the beauty of it. And you get the opportunity to imagine, can the Prime Minister question Mukesh Ambani? I did. I was so happy doing that. Because when you are interviewing him, you are opening his brain and saying what is it that makes him, the richest man, and so on and so forth. So yeah, there are very, very interesting moments that you will see and that you will keep reliving. Even in the newsrooms, when on a heavy news day, let's say 26/11 or Kargil War for that matter, if you happen to be in the newsroom, that you become a part of that event. 10 years down the line, when you write your memoirs, you will definitely be talking about these were the hot and happening moments in the newsroom that I had. So yeah, I can go for another 100 years.
So ma'am, I guess this is the last question for you, because I never thought that this interview will be so good with you. Like, I was little tense earlier.
Yeah.
So ma'am, is there any message to the audience? How will you motivate them to join this industry, and how can they change their mind about this industry?
So I tell you what, I'll come back to my students. I'm very fond of them. I know the exact moments when I reprogram them into media, and I keep whenever I see a student, I also see that moment where I saw him evolve into a media professional. So my only first is if it is a passion with you, it will grow on. You will at some point of time, you will realize, like I also did in my growing years, that there's nothing else that I can do better than this. In fact, I remember one instance when I was an English journalist all my life, and I was asked to produce a Hindi paper. I was hired to produce a Hindi paper, and right before the launch, right before we were about to hit the market, one of the advertisers asked me, do you think you can write in Hindi.
Okay.
So this is what I told him, that see, I may not know Hindi, you're right, but I know journalism. I can produce a paper in Japanese.
Oh.
Okay, and that's how it is. That's your conviction, and it grows on you. It becomes part of your. It's the oxygen. You know, sometimes
Yes, ma'am.
you can't do without reading 4 newspapers in the morning and going into the editorial meeting all equipped. What the next edition is going to be like. So yeah, it's. I think the only thing I can tell you here is that you won't love it, because you are almost creating history. You know the moments that tomorrow's generation is going to read in history books. You're part of those events,
That's
right?
true.
And so it defines your existence. It defines your being. Journalism is something which stays with you for all times to come. And the bylines, I can tell you, people tell me we've invested in diamonds, and I say I've invested in my bylines, and I think they are very precious to me. So that's how it is.
That was really like thoughtful of you. So thank you, ma'am. Like, you spare your time with us for
God
this
bless you.
interview.
Rise and shine. Thank you.